Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we are going to continue with the problems related to linked list. So the problem name is odd even linked list. So given the head of the simply linked list, group all the nodes with odd indices together, followed by nodes with even indices, and return the reordered list. The first node is considered odd, and the second one is even, and so on. Note that the relative order inside both the even and odd groups should remain as it was in the input. You must solve the problem in O(n) time complex space and complexity and O(n) time complexity. All right. So this is the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to club all the elements which are present at odd indices together and club the elements which are in the even indices together and kind of merge those. This example is a bit of confusing, so let's take this example 2 1 3 5 6 4 7. Right, so first element is first one index, right? So it is not similar to those of arrays in which the first element is present at zeroth index. So here the first element is present at first index, which means it is odd. So 2 and 3, 2, 3, 6 and 7, these are present at odd indices. Similarly, 1, 5 and 4 are present at even indices. So we have clubbed the elements present at odd indices followed by the elements present at even indices. Right, so the problem looks simple. So like we just have to make some reordering of the node next pointers. That's it. But in the cases of in the questions of linked list, right, we have to take extra care. How do we handle those next pointers, and we somehow don't miss any edge cases. So I will try to explain like how we can solve this problem and how we take care of the edge cases in this problem. So we need to solve it in O(n) extra space and O(n) time complexity. So O(n) extra space, they are trying to convey that we don't need to create an extra linked list, right? So we only need to change the ordering of the elements. And O(n) time complexity, yeah, that we can take care of. So let's, I will create one linked list. Let me draw 5, 6, 8, any random linked list I'm thinking of. 6 again, 2, right? Let me create one more one. Right, so this element is present at first index. So this is odd, this is odd, this one is odd, this is odd. So we need to club 5, 8, 6 and 1. Similarly 6, 7 and 2. These two elements have to be clubbed. Finally, what linked list I have to return? 5, 8, 6, 1. This is one linked list. The other linked list is 6, 7 and 2. And we need to club these two together such that one next pointer would be pointing to 6. It's a very easy problem. We just have to take care of the ordering of the elements. That's it. So if we see carefully that we need to break down this problem, like we need to break this linked list actually into two parts, odd and even, right? So for this we have to maintain some variables. So two linked lists would be odd and even. So the first linked list, which is odd, which is present at the odd indices. So to keep a track of those elements, we need some variables, right? So for keeping the track of the head of the odd linked list, we need to maintain one variable called odd head. Similarly, to keep a track of this linked list 6, 7 and 2, we need to have one variable which is always pointing to 6. So for this, I am creating one variable called even head. Similarly, I also need to iterate over this odd linked list. So for that I will create one variable called odd. Similarly, I need to iterate over this even linked list as well. For that I will create one variable called even. Right, so let's see how the algorithm would work now. So what we can do over here is we would initialize these four variables such that odd head would be pointing here. Similarly, odd would also be pointing here, and even head would be pointing here, and even would be pointing to the same location initially, right? So how are we going to move ahead in the linked list? Let's see. So we need to change the ordering of the elements, right? So 5 next node shouldn't point to 6, it should point to 8. So we need to break this link and we need to reorder this element so that it will point to 8. So what we need to do over here is odd next has to point to even next, right? Even next is 8. Similarly, we need to break this link so that 6 next pointer has to point to 7. How are we going to do that? Even next, we need to change this, right? Even next pointer would be pointing to odd. First we need to reach this, right? Then only we will be able to reach this 7. And how we can reach this 8? It is nothing but odd next that we had just changed in this step, right? So it would be odd next next, because if we wouldn't have changed from 5 to 8, then we would not be able to reach this 7, right? We can only reach this 7 from 8. So this is also established, this link is also established now. So this step is done. Now we need to update the odd and even variables so that we can also cover the rest of the linked list. So odd would be updated as, like, we need to move odd from 5 to 8. And what is 8? 8 is nothing but odds next. Odd is nothing but next pointer of itself. So odd would be updated as here. Now we need to update even as well. Even is nothing but it should be updated from 6 to this 7. So even comes here. How can it come here? It will be even equal to even next, right? So we just have to write this piece of code to make this algorithm work, right? But there are some cases that we need to handle, right? So first of the cases is like, till what point do we need to run this iteration? We need to run this iteration. Yeah, one more thing. So um, we need to we can observe that always the even pointer is ahead of odd pointer, right? So when we are writing this algorithm, like to mark the break condition, we can check whether the even pointer is null or not. If the even pointer is null, we can break that loop, right? Break this loop. And when this basically this part of algorithm finishes, we need to make this connection as well, right? So this algorithm basically takes care of creating these two linked lists, right? So let me try run this code and things would be much clearer. So when this code runs for the first step, so this link is established. After that, it runs for the second time. So this link is established. Odd would be updated here, and this link would also be established. Even would be updated here. Now comes third step. Odd next has to be evens next. This link would be established to here. First of all, I have to cancel these links. This step is executed. Now I need to execute this step. Even next. Even next is equal to odd next next, which is nothing but null. So this is established. Odd would be updated as odd next. Odd is here. Even is nothing but even comes here. Even is null now. Right. So let's make it a bit clearer. So what is the linked list till this point of time? 5, 8. 8 is pointing to 6. 6 is pointing to 1. Similarly, this 6 is pointing to 7. 7 is pointing to 2. 2 is pointing to null, right? So at this point we have created two separate linked lists, but somehow we were able to get a hold of their head values, because that's where this odd head and even head comes into the picture, because they are always pointing to the head of the odd and even linked list. So what I just need to do now is we need to update this link. Like I need to point this 1 next pointer to this 6, and at this particular one what I have, this odd variable, as I can see, like odd value has been updated from here to here. Odd is here, right? So after everything has been done, to join these two linked lists I have to just need to do this condition. Odds next has to point to even head. That's it. That in that way we will be able to join these two linked lists, and we can finally return this pointer 5, and we will have our desired linked list. So let's quickly run this code this first, and we will run it later. Let's create first, let's check if the head itself is null, right? If the size of the linked list is 0, in that case we will directly return null. Then what I'm going to do here is yeah, I'm going to create 4 variables. Odd head it is pointing to head only. List node star odd is pointing to head only. Similarly, list node star even head is pointing to head next, right? That's what we did here. Like even node has to start from the second node. Similarly, even would be starting from head next. That's it, right? So this is where we have initialized all the 4 variables. Now we need to write that while loop in which I am making a check that while even is not equal to null, also even next also doesn't need to be null. So till this condition is valid, I need to make these 4 operations. So what I will do is first I will odd next would be updated as even next, and I need to update the next pointer of the even as well, and even next would be updated as odd next next. Now I need to update the odd and even variables so that other part of the linked list can also get covered. So odd would be updated as odd next and even as even next. Right. In this way, we are able to completely iterate over the linked list, and we have bifurcated the linked list into 2 parts, odd and even. Now we need to club these two together. How are we going to do that? That's what I showed. Like we need to update this odd's next pointer to even head. That was the sole purpose of maintaining this even head pointer, so that at a later point of time we can club these two linked lists together. So odd next would be equal to even head. Right, I have clubbed these two together. I can just return head from here. That's it. Let's see if there are compilation issues. Yeah, list node, okay. Odd next is equal to even undeclared even head. Okay, got it. It should be capital. Yeah, compilation is fine and the basic test case passed. Let me submit it. Yeah, solution looks fine. Runtime and memory usage are also fine. So like this was a very easy problem of linked list. Like we just had to bifurcate the linked list into 2 parts and we need to club those, right? So only issue was like we need to handle some of the edge cases. Like it might be the case like some of the people might break into 2 parts, but in the end we need to club the odd and even linked list together, right? So this was the single line of code that did that purpose. So as you can see, like the code length is also very small. This is usually the case for the linked list questions. Like the code is not very large, but how you handle the edge cases, it matters, right? So these things will come while practicing only. So like keep on practicing these problems, and if you have any queries or improvements are needed in this solution, you can definitely comment. And also if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And I will see you next time with the another problem of Leetcode. Thank you everyone.